year. Strong public schools create strong communities.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hard work. It's what drives Nebraska. It defines our strength. Men like you live it every day. But sometimes living up to those expectations can be overwhelming. If you're struggling, call or text 988. You'll get skilled, caring support 24/7. Live up to a different kind of strength. The strength to ask for help. Paid for by the University of Nebraska Public Policy Center. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Kingdom Sports Minute with Ron Brown. Nebraska coach Tom Osborne hired Boyd Epley in 1969 when he noticed injured players were recovering more quickly using strength training methods developed by Epley. Epley was hired as the first full-time strength and conditioning coach for college football. Epley started an entire industry that would include thousands of professional coaches and large state-of-the-art equipment rooms throughout the country. While Boyd Epley didn't coin the motto, no pain, no gain, he helped build an industry on the idea that every football program needed to lift weights during the season. Scripture teaches us not to run from our pain, but to realize it is essential for our spiritual maturity. Our struggles help us to identify with Christ's suffering. Through suffering, we're conformed to his image and equipped to help others in times of distress. The Thessalonians were experiencing pain and affliction in many ways. Rather than isolating themselves in chapter 3, they continued to stand firm in their faith. Visit kingdomsports.online.
Hey, it's Chad with Nutrition Authority inviting you to stop in and check out the #1 selling complete post-workout product, CPR. CPR is ideal for anyone who works out, exercises, or competes and wants to maximize results. CPR can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today, try a free sample, or visit us at mynutritionauthority.com.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza, the big one, all the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Welcome into the LIBA Business Hour, sponsored by Nats to Tasseling, highlighting local independent businesses in and around Lincoln on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here's your host, LIBA Executive Director Travis Filing and Gary Tharnish.
Well, good morning. It's another beautiful Saturday fall morning in Lincoln, Nebraska. Everybody may not agree with that, but I think it's pretty fantastic. It's camping weather for
pretty
me.
Nice.
Yeah. So Travis is out of town at a Cleveland Browns game, I believe.
Yes,
correct?
He's in New Orleans.
Awesome.
Got some pictures, so.
Good deal.
Yeah.
And my co-host today is the lovely Pam Dingman. She is the Lancaster County engineer.
Good morning, Gary.
Good morning. How are you, Pam?
I'm good.
Well, good. You got schnazzy pants on today.
Yeah.
They're kind of outer spacey. They're spacey.
Once in a while, a girl needs to just have some fun pants.
There you go. I love it.
As an engineer, I don't get to have a lot of fun. We're not.
Yeah.
We kind of, fun is unprofessional for us.
I love it. I'm going to show an acreage when we're done here. So I'll be out in the nice, mild breeze of Nebraska. Yeah. Well, our special guest today is Travis's wife, Shannon Filing.
Okay, so this is when you ask all the Travis questions, I can tell you.
I don't know if I can even go. It's early. It's way early for that. But Shannon used to work for me years ago. We had that on a show recently, which was fun. And now, what are you doing now? What's your main thing?
Gosh, it's main thing or all the things?
Well, I know all the things. So you have Transformation Marketing,
yes,
a marketing company. How long have you had that?
This summer will be 24 years.
Oh man, are you kidding?
Yeah.
24 years.
I know.
Well,
that just
congratulations.
doesn't seem real.
That's crazy awesome. What did you do after you left working for me? Did you just walk out the door and go, oh, thank God this is over?
I went, yeah. No, I'm just kidding. It literally was one of the best jobs, but you guys can all watch that show. No, I was in banking for 10 years.
I forget that. That's
yes.
right.
Yeah, I was in banking for 10 years. I worked 5-year stints at two banks and 6 months at one. So my mom worked at a bank, retired for 40 years, but she got me 6 months experience. I could get that on my resume. and
Nice.
then came into Lincoln and started banking and did the whole drive-through teller, then the inside teller, then the new accounts, teller supervisor, manager, all the things. And in banking, you can really work up. And through that, I just found that really my aptitude there was people. I learned to balance a till. It was not my favorite, but
Yeah.
I like the people. I like building the teams. I like the customers. I liked working through those problems, getting them what they needed. And so that's kind of what I did. And then after 10 years, we had 2 kiddos real close together. And banking back then was just changing. Banks were selling all the time. And it felt a little unstable. It's ironed out now. But so I went to work for Travis. And as a salesperson, they aren't usually the detail lovers. So I kind of filled that space for him. And then out of that, the agency was kind of born. So
Nice. And that was 24 years ago now.
yeah.
That is crazy how fast that time flies. So when you say you went to work for Travis, did he start transformation marketing or
No.
what do you mean?
So he was in radio, marketing, and sales.
I remember
And
that.
so his whole job was to sell. And with that, then you have to do the paperwork, the insertion orders, and all of the scheduling and make sure the spots go where they need to go. And so he had approached the GM at that time and said, hey, my wife can work from home and do all of these details for me. And it opens me up to sell more. And so that's what I did. And I did some education through Radio Advertising Bureau, RAB. I did courses through there, and the radio station trained me on a lot. And so that's what I did, is I just supported him in that way. And then at one particular point, he had a client that said, I really like what you're doing in the Lincoln market, but I have 6 states that I have to place radio. And so he goes, well, I got the person for you. He came home, put this to me, and I'm like, what? But Travis has always been really, really good at saying, you got this. He always saw things in me that I probably wouldn't have done.
Sure.
So I don't know, wind beneath your wings sort of thing, I guess. But anyway, so I did that, and we did a lot of media planning and placement. I did a lot of media planning and placement in the ag sector, actually. And then they need more than radio. And so then I just kept bringing stuff on. I remember Travis going, do we need to? And I'm like, yes. And so then I kind of branched out. So
okay, into that. So Pam, you had your own business for years too. So I don't know about for you, but I know when I opened the flower shop, I was like 24, and I really didn't know very much about marketing. I really didn't study it that much in college, and quickly fell in love with it. Actually, it was something I really enjoyed, and I had to learn about it. But I also wasted a lot of money in my years just because of lack of consistency, lack of knowledge. And so many different things like that. And now, marketing today is so different than it was a year ago with everything that's changing and moving quickly. I think about Facebook when it first came out, and, it was so different than it is now. And I just think, marketing now, I hardly ever get on Facebook anymore just because it's all these ads targeted to me. It's like, yesterday I was talking about drumsticks, but I have enough drumsticks, so I don't need 5,000 drumstick ads today. Pam, how'd you market your engineering firm?
Well, engineering is a little different. And if you're going to go hit somebody up and it's a, $100,000 fee or $500,000 fee, or currently, we have a number of projects in Lancaster County that are $1 million fees.
Oh, geez.
So with that, you don't just walk up to somebody and be like, hey, you have to create a presence in the industry. And so, one of the things that I did was I really built a network all around town because you have to start building those relationships right away. It's just a little different. You have to be very strategic about how you do it. And you're right. There are lots of pitfalls, and you can, because the one thing you don't have as a small company, and Gary, this, and so do you, Shannon, is time and extra money.
Exactly.
You run out of time so quickly. So you're trying to find the most efficient way to get your name and your brand out there and continue to build on that.
So thinking about kind of where you're going with this, Pam, is how you market and the method. So yes, we have outward marketing through advertising mediums or ads, those sorts of things. But if I were to work with a company like what you had, you have to change your strategy to how do you educate, how do you create your presence or your materials to convey what you want, because it's different.
Right.
So all of those hats, have to be considered. So you could specialize in them, but at least you have to be cognizant. And so I would assume also in your oh good Lord, industry that there was a whole big deal with the trade shows. What do you do with that? Like, how do you make your presence? So that's a lot different than media insertions and things like that.
And the trade shows are so expensive. And now when I'm on the flip side of it, the flip side of receiving somebody's marketing brochure and, I get that packet of information and it kind of like hurts my heart a little bit. And I know a lot of people in government don't really feel this vibe, right? But I'm going like, oh my gosh, this is, a marketing piece that costs so many thousands.
Yes.
Or there's a proposal presentation that we have in government to award jobs, and you have someone in a room with you for 45 minutes and that they have literally invested 80 to 100 hours in their slides and their presentation and their layout and in practicing. And some people aren't bothered by that at all, but I recently interviewed a group and they were obviously struggling with how they present their team, and they had a fellow engineer that was he was writing how much extra time the guy used in the presentation because they're timed. And like my heart, like I was actually like sweating for them.
Oh man.
So you see these things go down on how small firms present themselves. And the sad thing is hey, you're deciding on that presentation, right? You're deciding, if you're going to buy that brand based on their presentation. And small firms, you're absolutely right, Shannon. They might not have enough money to put together the super schnazzy stuff for the trade show or enough expertise. And the stuff is expensive. I mean, I think most of the trade shows are like $5,000 to $10,000 a booth now.
Yeah. Right.
And so you want to make sure that you have the right materials there, but also like for engineers, you don't want to set an engineer at a trade show and have them be like this.
Yeah.
No eye contact. They're not really people.
Right.
You got to find a people person to sit there who's going to reach out and talk to everyone and be happy to be there.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, I got sent to this trade show.
Well, and sometimes, and on the flip side of that is just doing some of the training that I do, is we always talk about having the right people in the right seats. And it's like, you can have the most brilliant engineers, but it doesn't mean that they have all those skill sets. Like sometimes you can't expect people to do the things that just really don't come very naturally to them.
Right.
And training someone that is in sales to represent the brilliance of the engineers. But if the organization can understand that or afford that, that's probably a good solution.
Well, I can be your front man. My number one strength is woo. I can blow smoke into your head, and different phrase word might be used there, make you believe anything. So I'm good for that.
But
yeah, just don't ask me details.
But see, that's the thing that I learned too with the training is what was interesting is when I brought in coaching and training is the nuance of I have always had a lot of comfort in selling my team. I love selling other people's capabilities because I know what they can do. When I have to sell just myself, that was a change in my brain. That was a mindset change.
Yeah, sure.
Well, and you've been there too.
And I think Shannon is particularly rough for women.
Yeah.
Because, Gary walks in the room and he's like, yeah, I'm the best whatever flower arranger, real estate agent that like ever existed. And as we walk in the room as women, and if we do that, then people are like, oh my gosh, she's so arrogant. She's like sunny. But yet if you play it humble, you can lose on the flip side of that. So trying to read the room and slide into that. How do you coach people for that?
It is interesting because there is a nuance in the female, but because we're usually the caretakers, we are outward looking and we usually tend to backseat ourselves. So it is interesting in that, but I think a lot of that comes with confidence is not cocky. Confidence is just confidence, and being able to convince ourselves of that is I can be very confident in what I bring to the table, and I can present that in a way that feels natural to me. And I also have learned that you'll connect with the people that you need to connect with. You don't have to connect with all.
Right.
So taking that pressure off, and I have to reconvince myself of that from time to time. I am not sitting here as the expert and beacon on the hill, but those are some things that I have to go back to and say,
Well,
it's okay.
It's a journey. And I
Yeah.
think
Right.
sometimes as we grow as business leaders, just having that journey to where you learn what you need
Mhm.
or to where you learn where you need to go and ask for outside help
Mhm.
is just getting there. Because like Gary said, hey, he was 24. I was in my mid 30s with my engineering company, and it was a crazy thing.
Mhm.
And you're trying to figure everything out, and you're drinking from the fires. You don't always know what you need.
Right. Yeah. And I also think that, having these conversations happen far too little, of being very okay with being vulnerable
Mhm.
and supporting people in that, just because when I've had those moments, it's like, oh my God, they feel that way too. Because sometimes we have this persona. We go to LIBA or we go to wherever, and you come in, how you doing? I'm doing great. Yeah, what's new for you? Oh, so many things. Or you have your little go-tos that you say because either time's not going to allow, or people aren't prepared, or you aren't prepared to say it. But when you can kind of get that group or the moments to go, okay, I am not alone in this emotion, or I'm not alone with this like hurdle, and we can learn from one another, or at least just know I'm not failing. Like, it is just a moment that we'll learn from
Mhm.
and move past. And they happen all the time.
Well, and it's interesting when you start to talk to people, and you're right. You're absolutely right. We run into people, and you don't want to be like the Debbie Downer personality, like, oh man, my office manager quit last week, and
Right.
the surveyor crashed the truck that I had a second mortgage on my house. Like, you don't want to be that
Right.
person, right? But at the same time, when you start talking to people and you find out that, hey, managing people is messy,
Mhm.
and it doesn't matter who you are or where you are, there's going to be some messiness with people.
Mhm.
And then you have to be like Gary, right? And you still have to like love everyone, even if they're messy,
Mhm.
which is, on any given day can
Yeah.
be a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So our real estate team has a coach. She's been coaching Amy for years, but anyway, she coaches our team too. And it is really interesting how, how teams grow and develop, right? And you get a certain amount of trust of it. But there's still things you don't know about people all the time. That's just very interesting. And trying to align all of our standards and, what guides us, is just a tricky thing.
Mhm.
And it is messy, just even in a small group like that. In anything, families are messy. Let's
Yeah.
just start there,
Yeah.
And that's one thing I love about coaching. I have had people that walk up like, "Oh, this coaching is for the birds," da da da. And usually I kind of think, I'll, think about a little bit and think about that person. And I go, yeah, you know what? You don't like to be told there could be improvement
Yeah.
in behavior, or it's kind of a tough thing. So people don't just automatically accept coaching or
Right.
direction. You kind of have to meet them where they are and go with
Yeah.
that. So transformation marketing, do you have a different name for your coaching company, or how does that work? Is that
No.
all under the umbrella of transformation
Yeah,
marketing?
so we kind of broadened and said transformation group, and how that
Okay.
all materialized really was, I felt like after 20 some years, I had coaches and I knew how important that was to me and my development. And I would talk to, because transformation marketing really had worked with small to small medium businesses. It wasn't large companies that had all of these things in place. And I had these conversations with owners all the time. Like, I need a leader in my business. I need to be the leader in my business. I need bench strength, all of those things. And we talked about all the business stuff and ownership stuff, because I too was a business owner.
Sure.
And so it was just a natural progression to have some of that in. And what I've learned through that is I really like the training of leadership. And so it kind of suits me. So I just kind of brought that in because I'd had those conversations over and over and over again. So
That's nice. Marketing in and of itself, I remember, I spent a ton of money on it. Then one thing that really changed me was a seminar that I went to, and the gentleman got up and he talked about you have to meet people where they are, and how they're thinking and so on and so forth. He goes, there's just certain things that customers or clients expect from you,
Yeah.
right? Like if you're going to do an engineering project for me, I'm going to assume that the building will not fall down in 10 years, and you're going to do all those things you need to do. So you have like 5 seconds, right, with your flyer to appeal to somebody. Don't put on there, we engineer your project right the first time, because then I'm like, wow, why'd you have to start advertising? Were you having a lot of problems there and you've now fixed it, so you do it the first time? Auto places still do that. I see it all the time. We repair your car right the first time. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm just going to kind of assume that when I take my car in, that you're going to try and fix it right the first time. So I think back to trade shows and in publications and different things like that, it isn't so often having to things that are just expected don't necessarily need to be talked about. It's like, how do you touch somebody where they are, whether it's in a feeling or something that they're looking for? Like, I don't really help people. I don't really sell homes to people. I help people find their place where they're going to exist and adapt. And does it work for them? And all of that. It's just interesting how different and how old-fashioned some marketing still is. I just use the word old, like the old bubble things in comic and ads. Hormel was famous for that. And you still see it once in a while. I'm like, give me a break.
But what you're talking about, I'll just parallel it to marketing too. Is in order for you to be able to help them find the place where they will exist happily, you have to have the conversations. Number one, and number two, they have to have thought about it or be willing to think about it, right? So oftentimes when we talk about marketing and whatever you call it, because marketing is notorious for whether it's your ideal client or your avatar or your whatever you want to call it, right? Who do you mostly appeal to, or where do you excel, or where is your biggest profit margin item or service? And a lot of times small businesses haven't defined that. So that's where we kind of have to go back and kind of dissect those, and they have to put in that work. Secondly, with marketing is, yes, we don't want the building to fall. I will give you my best expertise, and I have many years to bring to the table and many services and products. However, marketing changes. We have to make educated guesses, and there's more of a journey there because we have to test the market. We have to see how it responds, and then you have to modify and so it is more of a process.
Well, we have to go to a break, but when we come back, let's talk about just the changes you've seen in marketing over the years and how you don't even call it marketing now and just, approach to people or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, we'll be back shortly. You're listening to the LIBA Business Hour on 93.7 The Ticket FM, and we'll be right back.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Bagels and Joe is the perfect place for breakfast or lunch in November. Try their brand new fall sweet trays, including cinnamon rolls, pumpkin chocolate chip muffins, pumpkin cheesecake brownies, and apple croissants. 4 locations in Lincoln and 1 in Seward. Bagels and Joe.
After a long, hot summer, are you ready for fall? What about your home? Is your heating system ready for cooler temperatures ahead? Be sure and call Bryant for your fall heating check. No matter what brand of equipment you own, Bryant's trained technician will thoroughly clean and inspect your furnace or heat pump to make sure you stay warm and comfortable. Call today to schedule your home heating check. 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. We do whatever it takes.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealer, invites you to attend our upcoming Parts and Service Expo events. It's the best time to buy parts and schedule inspections all year. Take advantage of specials through December 13th with additional savings the day of your local expo. Find savings on oil and filters, gifts for under the tree, and pre-ordered John Deere parts. Visit with our trained and certified technicians and sign up for our winter service specials. Visit landmarkimp.com for a complete schedule and experience the Landmark difference.
Hello, this is Mary Pat Waite. I've had the privilege of working with Lincoln families as their realtor for more than 31 years, and I'm so proud to be associated with MP Dodge Real Estate. For me, your transaction is unique in its own way. My experience allows me to bring you trusted care and a really great outcome. My NP Dodge family shares the same client focus.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Hey guys, it's Nick. You know how much I love beer, and this game day, show your Husker pride with Dear Old Nebraska Brew, the official beer of the Nebraska Alumni Association. Brewed by Nebraska fans, for Nebraska fans, Dear Old Nebraska Brew is your go-to for every kickoff, touchdown, and celebration. Whether it's tailgating, watching the game at home, or gathering with friends, this beer is there to bring that perfect game day refreshment. Dear Old Nebraska Brew embodies the spirit of Nebraska with every sip. So crack one open and let the good times roll. Dear Old Nebraska Brew, the official beer of Nebraska alumni. Please drink responsibly.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Davis Plumbing is a locally owned company specializing in a wide range of plumbing services for both commercial and residential customers. Davis Plumbing has been in business for over 15 years and has a team of experienced plumbers ready to help you with any project, big or small. Customer satisfaction and peace of mind is their number one priority. So for any commercial or residential project, give Davis Plumbing a call today at 402-525-6922. Davis Plumbing, locally owned and operated for over 15 years.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
In dealing with the high interest rates, it's very important that you get as much bang for the buck. And that's what our Remington Homes is all about.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, talking about Remington Homes, which makes the home building process easier and more affordable.
People really enjoy being able to go to our website, which is remingtonlincoln.com, pick a plan, pick a price point, go through and build it yourself. You have a lot of options, whether you want granite, whether you want painted trim or other upgrades. Those are all options with our Remington Homes. If you're looking for more affordability and streamlined, you're probably better off with a Remington home. People get into homes that didn't think they could get into a home. A good product for the right price in budget.
Home building is easier with a Remington home from Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at remingtonlincoln.com. remingtonlincoln.com.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Back to the LIBA Business Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This segment sponsored by Ascend Aesthetics.
Welcome back to the LIBA Business Hour. My name is Gary Tharnish with Home Design Real Estate Group. Co-hosting with me today is Pam Dingman. She's the Lancaster County engineer, and our lovely guest today is Shannon Filing with Transformation Group.
Yes.
I now have that correct. We're going to talk a little bit in this segment about changes in marketing over the 24 years you've had your business, what changes you've seen, and maybe what are the best, what are the most challenging. And then also we had a listener ask how, when you're marketing, how do you know your audience? How do you know to prepare for the audience? How do you market to your audience? How do you know them? It could be it would depend on your industry a little bit. Like in mine, when I did public speaking in the floral industry, well, I knew what they were looking for, better way to make money. But how do you do that? So
Yeah, so it's really interesting because they talk. Oh, it's really interesting. Talking about how to know your niche, and the more you know that, the better you connect with that. So when you even talk about your business in the floral industry, can anyone buy flowers? Yes. Can they buy them only on holidays? Yes. And why do they buy them? For loved ones, maybe. But then you also had identified a huge niche in the corporate,
Correct.
and that was ongoing. It wasn't occasional, right? They would have a corporate account. So identifying that is just be attuned to opportunity and what generates you reoccurring revenue, the easiest revenue or the most revenue, or who do you connect with the most, those sorts of things. And so a lot of times businesses don't spend enough time thinking about that. So like if I were working with a plumbing company, okay, so anyone could need plumbing repair. Okay, that's fine. But are you going to do new installs? Are you going to do construction? Are you going to do repairs? Are you going to do residentials? Are you going to do apartment complexes? And then
Sure.
that's going to make a difference who you market to.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you do the work, how are you differentiated from someone else?
Right.
I always found that to be the most difficult question to answer as a business owner because well, like Pam, for you, like when you had your engineering company, I mean, you engineer, how do you differentiate each other? Well, we use black ink. I don't know. What do you?
That's huge because we talk about that and how different is one plumber from another, right? If the repair is good and the pricing is competitive, maybe it's availability, but maybe it's just honestly the experience, the care in which you took into the home. Are you clean? Did you clean up after yourself? What is
Which is a big one.
Yeah,
by the
what is
way.
the post-care service? Do I stay in touch? Do I ask enough about, we would kindly like to ask for your review. Oh, they care for my opinion. Just all of that little polishing of the whole sales process can definitely have you positioned for referrals or for repeat business. And so that's where marketing kind of has changed a little bit for the conversations that we're having is what does the experience look like? How do people feel when they're done with your service?
Right. Yeah, and you like builders, for example, in general of homes. Builders of homes in general are industrial mind. They're industrial mindset, which is very different than a sales mindset or client, interaction. It is, and that's always kind of tough to mesh those two together. And it is important. And a lot of times it's anybody can build a home. Well, I mean, I couldn't, but a lot of people could build a home. Mine would be hilarious, I'm sure. But the people that do build homes, right? The basic things are about the same. So then, of course, you have the quality of the build. Are they cutting corners? What are they doing? Then at the end of the game, it's over. The house is sold. I think almost the most important part is following that. It's very important afterwards that, you're staying in touch. How are things going? And, continuing to just take care of that relationship. That gets lost a lot in business. I know I know one of the mistakes I made in my 40-year career I had before this was a lack of follow-up, almost like a one and done mindset. I'm moving on to the next thing right away. And in the business I'm in now in real estate, nourishing relationships and constant flow with your people is so important. So I market totally different now than I did, in my previous business. So a little bit to our person that asked the question, like, how do you know your audience? How do you market to them? I would start with like, what are their needs? How do you know your audience? Research a little bit. Are you speaking to in a group? Are you speaking to employees that know what's going on? Is it peers? Is it people that don't know anything? Also, I notice in marketing sometimes that's printed, you lose my attention right away.
Yeah, so this all comes down to communication. You mentioned print
Correct.
or you mentioned conversations, that sort of thing. Is I think we get really busy trying to go, well, this is my product. This is what the sell is. This is what the deliverable is, whatever that is. But we forget to ask some of the questions, or we haven't been trained, or we don't take the time. So some of the things that I've been talking to people about is even when you get the yes, is like, can I ask, why did you select me over the other?
Yeah. What
Consideration. What prompted you to
Yeah.
do that? Because that helps me learn and do better for others. And most people are like, oh my gosh, well, yeah, you did this and this. Or if you weren't selected, could I ask what I could have done differently or what was a disconnect? Because I'd like to learn from that.
Yeah.
Being comfortable and taking the time to ask that, that will help you identify what makes the yeses or the no's, and just kind of being thought minded on that is how do we think through that. I had a friend call me yesterday on my windshield time coming back from Denver, and he's like, I got this great idea. I want to get these directors together and I want to do this nonprofit thing. And he's explaining this all to me. And he goes, I even talked to somebody, and he goes, I have 12 investors that I think would donate to this cause. And I said, well, did you ask him what you said that made him think of 12 particular individuals? No.
Yeah.
Those sorts of things is just kind of following that logic through and go, oh man, that's exciting to get the 12, but what did that? Because I need to do more of that. So those are the questions.
Yeah, I also find in business anyway, it's very easy to be in, you're so busy in your business and doing everything. And of course, small business owner, and Pam, you can relate to this when you had your engineering firm,
Absolutely.
your HR, your, everything, your HR, your marketing, your
You're the
banking, your
accountant,
finances,
yeah.
you're the accountant. Yeah, you're the adult daycare, which is what I call employees. And we're not clients now. But
oh my, Gary, oh my. You know what I would like to ask Shannon is, so we're kind of in a new day where, hey, in the past, and I'll just use my current position as an example. Hey, we would put a position out there and we would get 75 or 80 qualified applicants. And now we're advertising a position and we're getting 4, and maybe 2 of them aren't qualified.
Right.
So it's also a new day for figuring out how do we, and I'm going to kind of put the air quotes around marketing, right? How do we market ourselves as employers to continue, because it's so important to have the people to get
That's
the work
true.
done.
Yes.
Very true.
And I would assume
Right.
that, because you have this, right, this transformational business, I would assume that's something that you've seen too. And how are you advising people to work on that?
Well, you hit one key point is the fact that marketing touches everything. We talk
Everything.
about marketing touching sales, the consumer, and yes, you have to market yourself as a business for potential employees too. And when you get that mindset, it's like it needs to be a good fit both ways. And so when we market ourselves as a business, so we had extensive years of this in over the road truck driver recruitment. So they used our marketing service for recruitment, which we learned a lot through that. It was very successful and really cool, because when we looked at that, it's not a matter of just placing ads in great places, and it's not a matter of being on the job board anymore, because we're recruiting people that aren't active looking. Sometimes we want to pique their interest. And it went through everything from creating culture videos that were on social media or on our web pages. And when they applied, did we have the CEO give them a video going, we're excited that you're going to fly in 2 weeks and join our company? What are those technology assisted efforts that take some of the heavy lifting off of us, but keep them engaged, keep them excited? How do we, once day one happens, what happens? Do we peer them or match them with a peer mentor? And are we hearing from the peer mentors back? I mean, this was a bigger organization, as to what they're experiencing in their first 90 days. How can we correct that? How can we make these things all successful? And so much to your point is marketing and doing that pre-interview, post-interview, 90 days, 60, 6 months, all of those things are important. And those are some of the marketing skills that we can parlay into other avenues and applications. And I love that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that I think is important too for interviewees, the people that are interviewing for the job, I'll bring that up a little bit too, is I have friends that'll ask all the time, I'm interviewing for a job. Do you have any tips? And I said, I was always impressed by an employee because applying for a job, which only happened once in 40 years, but it was so memorable, who said, where do you see me in your company in 2 or 5 years? Right. And the funny thing about it was the minute that they said that, I already saw them working for me. Right. So they planted a thought in my head that they would be here long term.
And what did they tell you about themselves? That they are forward thinkers.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that it's important where they're going to work also, and like what's in it for me, of course. Right. Which we all silently have tattooed on our forehead. But I thought that was very interesting. And then circling back on the other angle too, and a little bit to our person that texted in a little bit that said, how do you know your audience and you're going to market to them and everything? I'd say first, make sure you really know yourself, because I didn't for years as a business, know your business,
Yes.
the perception of your business. And so we hired a coach in mid-90s, one of the best things I ever did. And one of the things she said is she got us all together and she's like, let's take a poll here. Everybody write down the top 10 things you think you're good at. Number one is what you think they're best. Literally, I mean, I think there were like 12 of us at the time. And service came back as the number one thing. And then, we listed them out and everything. And then she met with me and she said, would you be willing to pay for me to take out 12 of your customers for dinner? And then after dinner, I'm going to survey them. We're going to talk about your company after dinner. And, there can be people that buy from you on a regular basis, or maybe somebody who's wedding you, whatever it might be. Anyway, so we did that. And man, was it shocking. Like, we were way off. We were like, our service is great. We love ourselves and we talk to people wonderful. And it came back that like service was 8. And we were like, wow, what, like our perception of ourselves was way off. The
Did
public
they score
perception.
you higher in an area you didn't?
Yeah,
see?
and different. Yeah, a lot of things were different. So it was almost there were a few things that weren't on our list at all that came up that they thought were great. And then a lot of things we thought were great were much lower. So the service one especially interested me a lot. But people are like, man, if I call your company at 1:15, like, you've cut off flower delivery for the day. That's it. Nope, we can't do it today. Well, it's my anniversary and it's really important. I forgot and I'm out of town. Sorry, we could deliver it tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow delivery for an anniversary is always good, right, Pam and Shannon? I mean, that's the way to get brownie points.
Not awesome.
So
Gary, not awesome.
so the coach further questioned them and they said, well, their delivery fee is X, and they're like, we'd pay double X.
Right.
We'd pay triple X. So we instigated a different policy and made a lot more money, but
And happier people.
We never would have marketed the way we should have without that coaching and without being able to find out to find that out. So I think it's important to know who your audience is. It's really important to know how your audience perceives you.
Yeah, so there's a couple things there that I'd like to touch on. Is an outside perspective is so important because we get in our world, right? And to have someone challenge or just ask a question or say, well, what if you've always done it this way, but what if we looked at this? Is that a fit? Well, I never considered that. What would be your holdback? Oh, I don't know. Well, okay, let's talk about that. Sometimes it's just asking the questions and making us slow down enough to consider other things is hugely important. So,
and that's you said a word right there that's tough, like slow down. So my previous business was we manufactured everything we sold. So we were really kind of a manufacturer retailer, right? And so it was very busy, hands-on, working on it. It was hard to slow down. And the business I am now, I have those times where I can slow down and reflect and think and plan and all of that. I'm working on it because I don't really gravitate to that. I'm squirrely, but I know, right? Exactly. But it is important and it makes a big difference.
Yeah. And I think sometimes if we know we aren't innately good at that in ourselves, or I can go at a fast pace, I can slow down and reflect, but doing it purposely.
Right.
I know that I need to tap in some core people in my life to come alongside me in that. So I have a good friend, Lee, that we try and talk once a week. Jan, what do you got going on? What can I hold you accountable for? Hey, what was your win? Because sometimes we overlook those things and we need those things. So I just have realized that in and of myself, maybe I won't do that as routinely or as well as if I bring someone into it. And to know that I have good people that I can call and say, I need this from you. And he's like, great, because I need that from you.
Yeah.
Those sorts of
I
things.
have that too, and it makes a big difference. And I never did before. So so wonderful speaking with you today, Shannon, and glad you're here, Pam. We have another break, and then we'll come back for a little short segment and finish things up. So you're listening to the LIBA Business Hour on 93.7 FM, The Ticket. We'll be right back.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
We fix basements.
We fix basements.
We fix basements.
We fix basements. We fix basements.
At F Foundation Repair, we've been fixing basements for over 30 years. We're your local foundation repair experts. Our warranties stay here. Our people work here. You can trust us to take care of your home. Go to wefixbasements.com to learn more.
Temperatures are cooling down, but don't put your golf clubs away. Double Eagle Golf makes golf leagues and events possible year-round. Leagues are underway with winter leagues beginning December 1st. Check out their deals on monthly memberships and schedule your holiday, birthday, or bachelor parties, corporate and team outings, or just a good old Saturday with the boys. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Book a tee time today or learn more at doubleeagle.golf.
Have you been accused of a crime and don't know where to turn? At Liberty Law Group, we understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you're up against the legal system, you need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. Liberty Law's experienced trial attorneys are committed to the defense of liberty for those accused. Don't let a criminal charge ruin your life. Call Liberty Law at 877-42-LIBERTY. Advocates you need, trial attorneys you can trust. That's 877-42-LIBERTY.
League One Volleyball is coming to Omaha this January. Featuring Olympic medalist Jordan Larson and Justine Wong-Arantes, Love Omaha Volleyball is Omaha's newest pro team. The inaugural season will showcase some of the world's best volleyball players, from medalists to NCAA champions and international superstars. With the action kicking off on January 24th at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Visit lovb.com for more information and to purchase tickets. Volleyball is the next major league.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Greens at 402-467-4444 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-4444.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, wanting to thank you all again for your continued service. November is off and running. Check this out. Get up to $12,000 off or 0% financing on select new vehicles. We have great lease specials with new Trax and Trailblazers starting at $299 per month and new Blazer EVs leasing for $399. Great payments, discounts, and of course, 0% financing. So make that short drive down 144th Street or check us out online at CoppellCars.com. You'll be glad you did. All finance with approved credit, leases with $2,500 down.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the ticket crew as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show, brought to you by General Fire and Safety, Raisin Canes, Perch Merch, Sunbelt Rentals, Mullen Motors, Select Plumbing, and the Kindler Hotel. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Now's the time to get your John Deere equipment inspected and prepared for next season. Acres trained technicians will thoroughly evaluate your machine and get it running at peak performance. And for a limited time, Acres is offering early inspection incentives. Sign up before December 15th and qualify for a discount on parts installed by Acres. Get no interest and no payments until November of 25 with approved financing through John Deere Financial. Some restrictions apply. Contact your nearest Acres location for details.
Explain to me again why we're sleeping on the ground.
Because we're thramping, thrift camping. It's saving us money and getting us closer to nature.
But we don't need to thramp. I just combined our home and auto insurance with our State Farm agent, so we have a rate that fits our budget.
All right. Do you think our agent can bring us an air mattress?
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Kreekak, at 402-474-1173.
Individual premiums and budgets will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
The Locker Room with Chancellor Brewington and Mikey Daniel.
You know, Raiola and Hogerson, I'm sure, have had plenty of one-on-one meetings. We're going to close the door behind us, and I'm going to say, hey, what did you like from this offense? What did you not like? You know, Raiola knows at the end of the day what's really going on with this offense. To be honest, that's what needs to catapult this offense. And this whole team is Raiola's play. You know, Sat's philosophy and Raiola's philosophy or Raiola's skill set just didn't match. I think this is going to match Raiola, and it's going to allow her his skill set to come out.
Back to the LIBA Business Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This segment sponsored by U-Stop and Whitehead Oil.
Thanks for listening to the LIBA Business Hour today, or on the podcast or YouTube video, whichever and however you are meeting us, hearing this today. But I also want to really quickly say, we say LIBA all the time, but for those of you who don't know, that acronym is the Lincoln Independent Business Association. LIBA.org is where you can find out more information about that, especially if you're a small business owner out there. You're not alone. There's a lot of us, and getting together with like-minded people helps so often. Pam is Pam Dingman from Lancaster County Engineer. Not from, she is the Lancaster County Engineer.
I am the Lancaster
She
County
works
Engineer.
at that office.
Don't you want to kind of?
Well,
she-
I mean, you know, it was a hard week at Lancaster County because
I
you know,
bet.
this was a mud week, and we're
all-
looking forward to another mud week next week. And we just have some sadness out there, and I wish as an engineer that I could figure out how to fix mud.
Yes, and that makes me think, I wish I could just fill your bucket full of happiness and joy so it'd go
Yeah,
great.
let's talk about filling the bucket.
Yeah, right. So that's a big thing. I mean, I remember so many times in business where I just felt alone and I was not ever really filling my bucket. I always taking care of everybody else. I never celebrated wins. It's one thing I love in our real estate group is that every week we start with celebrating our wins, and it just sets your mind in such a positive. It's just so positive and uplifting to do that because it's easy to forget those and focus on all the challenges.
So there is an actual, oh gosh, I'm not going to even pull the term right here, but that's okay. You know, when you buy a vehicle and then it seems to be on the road, there's a Sequoia, there's a Sequoia, right?
I see Seltoses everywhere now.
Right, yeah. So it
Never
sets your
saw it before.
mindset. So much to your point, if you take the time to celebrate the wins, you will start thinking about the wins. So when we talk about like meetings that if you do a line format, right? Last week, issues, opportunities, next week or whatever, you know that when you come to that weekly meeting, I'm going to have to find an opportunity or I'm going to have to find a win or however you put your weekly meetings together. But then you become more diligent in looking for those things and they will surface more instead of going, God, I had 3 crappy things that happened that week. It's like, but I also had 3 wins. We discount those so much.
Right.
So talk about like filling your bucket is just that intentionality because as business owners, we tend to ladle out of our bucket. We got to give to our leadership. We got to give to our clients. We got to give to our team. We've got to give to our family. We got to give all of these things. And then we forget that we kind of have to fill that bucket and it's okay to fill that bucket. And honestly, taking the time to figure out what does fill the bucket.
Yeah.
I mean,
for me, it's been traveling,
Yeah.
you know, which I never really did in my other profession very often, other than for work, honestly.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, I did a little, but not a lot. And for me, that is
It
I mean, if I'm
rejuvenates
in
you.
town and my phone, which I call my cash register, is with me and it's constant. I thought I was going to take Monday off a while back and I ended up working from 8 to 8. I mean, it was just, that's how it is. So for me, I fill my
Right.
bucket up by traveling. That's what works for me. But yeah, you do have to find what that is.
Yes. And Travis and I do travel often. We try to. And that too, that is the time that we never really even unplug, to be quite honest. We probably need to do a little bit more of that. But it is the time that we can decompress. We can have our time together because we'll work late. We have other businesses as well. So if we do not step out of the city, we do not step out of our home, we are the ones that are like, well, we need to paint this or do that, or we need to go clean this, or we need to build that, or do paperwork or whatever it is. If we don't physically remove ourselves, we don't get that time to rejuvenate. And what I find interesting, and my team always goes, oh my gosh, when Shannon travels, she's going to come back with all these ideas. It does free up. Like, I will go to the beach. I kid you not. I will go to the beach with a notebook because it tends to free my mind to go, God, I want to try this, or I thought about this differently, or I had a moment to think. It actually serves two purposes. It kind of fills my bucket, but then it also engages my brain in a different way too.
How do you fill your bucket, Pam?
That's a really great question, Gary.
I know the answer.
I guess I
pick up an axe.
Well, I do throw axes. I'll be really honest. I'm really bad at it. And so, I also power lift. And people always ask me, I'm a very competitive person and I'm out there all the time competing. And then people will say, well, like, hey, are you going to do some axe tournaments? No. Hey, are you going to do some powerlifting competitions? No, because not everything has to be a competition. Hey, some stuff you can just go and do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It fills your
So
bucket.
that's how I fill my bucket a lot. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm a drummer. And so I have named my drums before on a bad day and just beat the crap out of them. That's fills my bucket.
Well, I tried to engage my family into doing like karate because I like kicking things,
nice.
right?
I love it.
Or I like to go target shooting because you put your ear protection on and you focus at that.
And you have one focus.
You have one focus.
thing.
Yeah.
That one thing.
I
Instead
love
of like
to shoot.
15 things. And, I have 2 phones with me all the time, my current position and 3 email accounts and 2 laptops. And it just gets to be, it's a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, the level of connected that we are on a day-to-day basis has just gotten to be crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We talk about that. Like, even with marketing, is how did things come in? It comes in email. I get clients that text me. You might have Facebook messages. You might have, and then you're thinking, I feel like I'm digitally gaslit a lot. I'm like, I swear to God that I heard that somewhere. Or I swear to God I read that.
Right.
But, it's just a lot to manage. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Now my phone number's everywhere, right? It's on signs and all. I mean, so the massive amount of text and that I get unsolicited is just over the top. I mean, I attended a CE recently, learn how to manage all that. And it's just like mind blowing sometimes, which is crazy. So, well, we have 1 minute left, which isn't a lot of time, but it has sure been enjoyable talking to you about your business. Talk about, I see you with Travis a lot, or I see Travis all the time. And it's like kind of been fun to catch up with you. And I will now say the name of your company properly instead of Transformation Marketing. It's Transformation Group.
I would answer to both.
Okay, Pam, thank you for co-hosting today.
Thanks,
You're very
Gary. It's been great.
appreciated. Yeah, hopefully the roads will be perfect this week.
Yeah.
I'll be out on them when we leave here, by the way. I'm heading out to an acreage. So I'll let you know how us there.
You'll
I'll
have to
you a
give
good
me
call.
the report. You have to give me the report.
I'll give you a good call because we all need those once in a while.
Well, thank you.
And you've been listening to the LIBA Business Hour here on 93.7 The Ticket FM. And have a great week or a great day wherever you're at. Just be present with whom you are with.
After a long, hot summer, are you ready for fall? What about your home? Is your heating